That four-place classic, advertised for thousands below market value, looks like the intelligent purchase saving money, while everyone else overpays for identical capabilities. Smart buyers research specifications and compare prices before discovering the painful truth that initial savings vanish through parts scarcity and maintenance costs that compound relentlessly. Today, we expose 10 aircraft that transform bargain hunters into cautionary tales. Welcome to What Makes Affordable Planes Become Financial Nightmares. Every aircraft broker knows the phone call. Excited buyer just discovered a four-place Cessna selling for thousands below market value. Convinced they've outsmarted an entire industry through clever shopping and persistence that other buyers apparently lack completely. The numbers look perfect on paper, with airframe hours seeming reasonable, avionics adequate for the mission, and that familiar high wing profile suggesting parts and service exist everywhere. General aviation operates across the continent, making ownership straightforward. The Continental GO 300 lurks beneath that innocent-looking cowling as the financial time bomb explaining why this particular Cessna variant trades at such steep discounts compared to nearly identical siblings. This configuration employs reduction gearing between crankshaft and propeller, allowing higher internal operating speeds that seemed innovative during initial engineering, but created parts scarcity and specialist shop requirements, persisting decades later with companies like Norvik Aero Engines marketing themselves as dedicated resources. Today's classified advertisements commonly display these aircraft between $60,000 and $80,000 United States dollars, frequently highlighting supplemental type certificate conversions, replacing the original Continental with Lycoming O 360 or even O 470 alternatives that previous owners installed specifically to escape the maintenance nightmare. Purchase price appearing too good becomes understandable when discovering that retaining the factory power plant means eventual overhaul or replacement costs potentially exceeding entire aircraft market value, creating financial crisis. Insurance underwriters and lending institutions recognize these realities, often declining coverage or financing unless conversion to more common power plants has already occurred. Prospective buyers face difficult choice between paying premium for already converted examples or accepting original configuration, knowing major expense looms inevitably on the horizon. The airframe itself presents no unusual challenges, but that single engineering decision from the 1950s continues extracting financial penalties from every subsequent owner who underestimated the true cost of apparent bargains. Some aircraft concentrate financial punishment in obscure engines, while others achieve same result through monopolistic control. Walk any airport ramp and you'll spot the pilots who chose differently, flying low-wing designs with sliding canopies, while everyone else climbs awkwardly through traditional doors into high-wing trainers that fly like airborne station wagons without the cargo capacity. These sleek aluminum birds with bonded construction eliminating thousands of individual rivets promise speed advantages and handling characteristics that justify the nonconformist choice. The Grumman AA5 Traveler delivers on those performance promises right up until something breaks and the parts search begins revealing uncomfortable truths about concentrated supply chains. Fletcher represents both salvation and captivity for owners of this particular aircraft family, operating for over 3 decades as the virtually exclusive source maintaining manufacturing capability, original drawings, and component inventory that keeps these aircraft operational. European distribution through companies like Flymore extends this network internationally while simultaneously proving that geographic diversity doesn't create competitive pricing when everyone ultimately sources from the same limited suppliers, creating monopolistic conditions. Generic consumables including batteries, tires, lighting, and standard avionics components remain readily accessible through normal aviation supply networks without unusual expense or difficulty providing some relief. The trap closes around anything manufacturer-specific, where panels, cowlings, major surfaces, seat rails, and bonded structural components force owners back to that narrow supplier network where availability depends on current inventory, rather than competitive marketplace dynamics with lead times stretching to weeks or months. International freight becomes routine budget item for operators distant from established service centers familiar with this particular aircraft family. The corrosion resistance that bonded aluminum construction provides becomes meaningless advantage when annual inspections reveal needed components that won't arrive until halfway through the following flying season. Mechanics grow reluctant accepting these aircraft, knowing that discovered issues might ground the plane indefinitely through no fault of workmanship or diagnosis, simply because parts exist only at the pleasure of monopolistic suppliers. While domestic manufacturers perfect expensive captive ownership, European designers export same lessons wrapped in continental sophistication. Aircraft advertisements seduce buyers through photographs emphasizing sleek lines, modern interiors, and specifications suggesting capabilities rivaling far more expensive alternatives that somehow escaped everyone's attention during decades of classified listings. The low-wing, retractable promises executive transportation at prices, making Bonanza owners question their purchasing decisions, while spacious cabin and thoughtful ergonomics suggest refinement that American manufacturers occasionally achieved when competing seriously. The Rockwell Commander 112, posted between 110 and 150,000 United States dollars, seems reasonable for four-place retractable with respectable performance specifications. Production totaled approximately 800 units for the 112 variant, with the complete family reaching roughly 1,490 examples. Numbers guaranteeing parts scarcity regardless of manufacturer commitment. Today, production sits permanently closed, with successor companies providing only parts support rather than active manufacturing, meaning every component becomes special order item dependent on remaining inventory. The Lycoming IO 360 C1D6. Producing 200 horsepower provides standard power plant adequately supported, but airframe-specific components tell entirely different stories. The elevator spar fatigue problem represents the nightmare every Commander owner eventually confronts or worries about constantly. Sterling Aviation Technologies offers replacement elevator spar kit solving structural issues for 5,300 United States dollars, covering only raw components without paint or labor. External composite pieces replacing original plastic parts provide modern solutions through suppliers like Knots 2U, with Federal Aviation Administration PMA approval, but pricing reflects monopolistic supply, where wingtips command $551 each. Insurance underwriters recognize these realities, adjusting premiums upward, while financing institutions hesitate committing loans against aircraft with concentrated parts, networks, and closed production lines. The Commander 112 delivers on performance and comfort promises during normal operations, but lurking structural issues and premium parts pricing mean every annual inspection carries anxiety about discoveries, consuming substantial aircraft value portions through single maintenance event. While some aircraft punish owners through domestic parts scarcity, others export nightmares by wrapping them in military heritage, obscuring volunteer-based support realities. Nostalgia sells aircraft more effectively than specifications ever could, particularly when design carries military lineage, suggesting rugged construction and capabilities that civilian trainers never attempted matching during their utilitarian existences, serving flight schools and rental operations. The low-wing four-seater with retractable gear and substantial aluminum structure descending directly from North American and Ryan manufacturing appeals powerfully to pilots, valuing historical significance alongside practical cross-country capability exceeding aged Cessnas. The Navion, posted between 80 and 130,000 United States dollars, seems reasonable for capabilities and pedigree offered, until parts procurement reveals uncomfortable truths about orphaned support. No factory exists anymore in meaningful sense, meaning parts procurement involves navigating networks of clubs, specialty shops, and niche suppliers that form specifically preventing complete extinction. Aircraft Spruce maintains dedicated sections where simple flush fuel caps command 1,400 United States dollars, baggage doors reach $4,727, and sloped windshields approach $2,216, pricing clearly communicating premiums attached to every structural or cosmetic component requiring replacement during ownership tenure. Hydraulic systems and retractable landing gear components receive support from specialists like Cox Air Parts, maintaining extensive catalogs of actuators, power packs, valves, accumulators, and type-specific pieces, all priced on quotation basis that experienced owners immediately recognize as warning substantial expense awaits. The passionate community provides tremendous knowledge, sharing and mutual support, maintaining operational capability, where purely commercial considerations would have grounded the fleet permanently long ago. But enthusiasm doesn't reduce component costs or expand supplier base beyond a handful of dedicated businesses. Insurance and financing prove more difficult than common types, as underwriters and banks recognize concentrated support network and limited mechanical expertise available outside specialty shops familiar with the type. While military heritage aircraft depend on volunteer passion for survival, other designs achieved cult status through performance capabilities, creating devoted followings, accepting whatever sacrifices parts scarcity demanded. Performance reputations outlive practical considerations about long-term ownership costs. Once initial specifications and capabilities capture imaginations of pilots seeking alternatives to mainstream designs that everyone else flies without distinction or personality, differentiating one example from thousands of identical siblings. The four-place retractable earned legitimate respect through chrome molybdenum 4130 steel truss structure, providing nearly indestructible strength wrapped in aluminum skin, combined with fuel injected like homing power plants progressing from 200 to 280 horsepower. The Meyers 200, offering impressive capabilities at seemingly bargain pricing, conceals maintenance reality behind those performance numbers and structural reputation. Limited production followed by manufacturing transfer to Rockwell Commander, before disappearing entirely from mainstream aviation, left today's fleet dependent almost exclusively on Meyers Aircraft Owners Association, functioning as de facto factory, maintaining documentation, blueprints, service bulletins, and institutional knowledge preventing complete extinction. Engine components, brake assemblies, instruments, and generic systems remain accessible through normal aviation supply channels, but anything airframe specific, including gear mechanisms, fairings, transparencies, and internal structural pieces, enters realm of salvage yards and custom fabrication, commanding premium pricing. Association membership becomes practically mandatory as this organization centralizes expertise, vendor contacts, and collective knowledge that individual owners cannot possibly maintain independently. Every structural repair transforms into chess match between association resources, salvage suppliers willing to part out donor aircraft, and specialty fabricators, accepting work on limited production types lacking active factory support. The aircraft flies beautifully with handling qualities justifying enthusiast devotion, but that devotion becomes prerequisite rather than optional characteristic for successful ownership, accepting extended part searches and financial reserves for unexpected fabrication when conventional channels fail completely. While American designs struggle through extinct manufacturers and association-dependent survival, French construction methods delivered unique nightmares through hybrid techniques, seeming innovative until facing restoration requirements. Hot rod performance from vintage airframes attracts pilots valuing character over sterile modern designs, flying efficiently but inspiring nothing beyond transportation utility. The four-place retractable combines wood and fabric construction with steel tube fuselage, creating a hybrid structure that purists either love passionately or avoid completely. The Bellanca 1730 Viking, advertised at speeds approaching 163 knots from fuel-injected power plants, producing nearly 300 horsepower, suggests performance rivaling newer designs at fraction of acquisition costs. The hybrid construction represents both appeal and curse as wood spars, fabric covering, and steel tube fuselage demand inspection expertise. Most mechanics lack or prefer avoiding entirely. Bellanca Inc. and Alexandria Aircraft maintain type certificate providing official support, but practical reality involves salvage operations, where donor aircraft become parts sources. A complete horizontal stabilizer from salvage commands 690 United States dollars before recovering fabric and addressing corrosion discovered during restoration. Structural work escalates beyond simple repairs into restoration projects, where fabric recovering, wood inspection and replacement, and corrosion treatment consume labor hours, shocking owners accustomed to aluminum aircraft maintenance. Wood structure requires vigilant moisture management and proper hangarage, preventing deterioration that humid climates accelerate dramatically. Insurance companies recognize these risks, demanding higher premiums and more frequent inspections than comparable aluminum retractables require. Market values reflect realities, with average examples trading around 67,000 United States dollars, substantial discount suggesting buyers understand maintenance commitment required. The Viking flies like the hot rod it claims, with performance justifying enthusiast devotion. But every recovering project brings invoices approaching total aircraft value, making financial sense difficult to justify. While wood and fabric delivers maintenance nightmares, French training aircraft export unique challenges through European supply chains. European sophistication appeals to American pilots tired of agricultural Cessna and Piper trainers prioritizing utility over aesthetics. The French 4 to 5 seat trainer with fixed tricycle gear employs Lycoming O 360, producing 160 horsepower, delivering approximately 110 knots cruise with service ceiling near 13,000 feet. The Socata TB9 Tampico, shown in European markets between 60 and 80,000 euros, equivalent to approximately $65,000, creates a tempting alternative to aged American trainers. The trap springs immediately upon requiring structural components, as virtually everything flows through Daher and European channels, where proprietary TB family parts, including doors, stabilizers, and large fairings, easily cost 4-digit euro amounts. Resale catalogs commonly show door components and mechanisms valued around 400 to 500 United States dollar equivalents per minor item, with major subassemblies reaching $1,000 to $1,600, providing painful education. Engine parts, brakes, tires, and standard electrical items utilize Lycoming and general aviation generic components readily available, providing some relief. The genuine problem emerges with anything carrying TB9 designation and part numbers, where even used part sources concentrate in European salvage yards requiring international procurement. Lead times and freight become routine aspects, where any hangar damage transforms into months-long project involving shipping and customs clearance. The TB9 exemplifies aircraft appearing to represent intelligent European upgrade, but actually placing owners hostage to transatlantic logistics for any structural issue beyond engine maintenance. Insurance companies recognize realities adjusting premiums upward, while banks prove reluctant financing aircraft with concentrated parts networks. French designers created one maintenance headache, while their more powerful sibling merely amplified every expensive lesson into heavier, costlier package. Buyers believing more powerful versions automatically solve base model compromises, discover harsh lessons when both variants share identical supply chain nightmares. Adding 20 horsepower and few hundred pounds doesn't magically create parts availability or competitive supplier networks constraining owners equally. The Socata TB-10 Tobago with Lycoming 0360 producing 180 horsepower pushes cruise toward 115 to 120 knots, with maximum takeoff weight reaching 2,630 pounds, offering modest improvements over lighter sibling. European sales platforms recently displayed only 4 examples available, with prices ranging from approximately 69,950 euros to over 105,000 euros. Scarcity immediately signaling limited market depth. The heavier airframe and higher performance envelope place additional stresses on landing gear and structural components compared to lighter TB9, meaning wear items and fatigue-prone parts require replacement more frequently, creating compounding expenses. Salvage operations, advertising complete TB-10 airframes. As parts, sources tell the real story where wings, stabilizers, doors, and landing gear become available primarily through cannibalizing wrecked aircraft, rather than ordering from healthy, competitive supplier network. Major structural items consistently demand 4-digit dollar or euro pricing, especially when sourced new through Daher-authorized channels. Even minor fairings carry premium pricing that Cessna or Piper owners would consider absurd. Every annual inspection becomes anxious waiting period, hoping mechanics discover nothing requiring major European-sourced components, grounding aircraft through multiple months of international procurement. The Lycoming power plant provides relief as engine parts remain available through normal continental supply chains, but airframe-specific components trap owners in European ecosystem that punishes through extended delays in premium pricing. While French designs torture through oceanic supply chains, other French classics achieve similar results through wood construction and volunteer associations fabricating components. Vintage French elegance wrapped in wood and fabric construction appeals powerfully to pilots valuing craftsmanship over mass production efficiency that modern designs prioritize exclusively. The 4-place low wing employs laminated wood structure with fabric covering and distinctive positive dihedral, creating visual character that aluminum designs cannot replicate regardless of cost. Versions like DR440 with Lycoming, O320 producing 140 horsepower deliver cruise speeds between 105 knots. Production continued for decades through Pierre Robin and Apex with support, today centralized in France, creating concentrated supply network favoring European operators dramatically over international owners. Fleet concentration in Europe means United States examples exist, but in far smaller numbers than Cessna or Piper equivalents, creating parts scarcity. Structural components specific to the type, including wood pieces, transparencies, and proprietary hardware, demonstrate pricing realities. Landing gear and brake component pricing illustrates expenses where 3 whole brake discs command approximately 280 United States dollars, brake flex lines approximately $110, master cylinders around $290, and outer main undercarriage legs reaching approximately 1,800 United States dollars. Complete Behringer brake upgrade kits involve multiple thousands of dollars depending on configuration chosen by owner seeking modern performance improvements. Wood and fabric construction demands specialized hanger edge and rigorous inspections for moisture and bonding integrity that aluminum designs tolerate with far less vigilance or expense. Transparencies and canopy components generally supplied through European Robin channels become voluminous, fragile items where component cost combines with international freight, creating substantial total expense. While wood construction punishes through material vulnerability, other French designs concentrate nightmares through deliberately limited production numbers. Bargain pricing in classified ads attracts buyers thinking they discovered overlooked 4-place opportunity that somehow escaped widespread recognition despite decades of availability. The elegant French 4-seater with low cantilever metal wing designed by Yves Gardan and produced by Sud Aviation, and Socata employs Lycoming 0320 in 150 to 160 horsepower range. The Gardan GY80 Horizon, with constant speed propeller, achieves cruise around 126 knots with maximum speed near 145 miles per hour and maximum takeoff weight approximately 2,440 pounds. Production totaled slightly over 270 units, guaranteeing part scarcity regardless of manufacturer survival or support commitment. Today, the aircraft survives almost entirely through APAG, the Association des Propriétaires Amateurs d'Avions Gardan, functioning as de facto factory, maintaining bulletins, manuals, parts lists, and fleet information. The historical parts inventory resides with single holder in Netherlands, cited by APEG as principal repository for factory original items, with the association maintaining additional components and directing owners toward this concentrated inventory. The horizon represents typical French four-seater, making sense only for owners willing living permanently connected to proprietor association, fabricating parts in small lots with lead times and costs, reflecting custom manufacturing rather than competitive commodity marketplace. Entry pricing appears ridiculously attractive for four-place capability, but survival depends almost totally on volunteer organization. Maintaining type through sheer determination rather than commercial viability or normal manufacturer support that mainstream aircraft owners take completely for granted. These 10 aircraft prove that attractive purchase prices often hide maintenance realities that transform bargains into expensive long-term commitments, punishing unprepared owners. Smart buyers investigate beyond specifications and cosmetics into actual ownership costs, separating bargains from expensive lessons. Which aircraft surprised you most with hidden maintenance costs? Share experiences and comments helping fellow pilots avoid expensive mistakes. Did this investigation change your aircraft shopping perspective? Hit that like button if you value honest analysis over sales pressure. Want more content exposing aviation realities that advertising never mentions? Subscribe and activate notifications, ensuring you never miss investigations, separating marketing claims from operational truth. Watch the videos appearing here on screen and stay with us. Bye-bye.